Welcome to tonight's work session. We don't have a real heavy agenda, so we'll get right into it. Grant Cawthon, when we open court, or Grant Cawthon will do the invocation, and then Mr. Ford will take care of the pledge. We'll have a roll call and approval of the minutes, set the agenda. The mayor will have his report, and then we'll have committee reports. And one of the issues we'll address will be election of chair and pro tem. Nomination will be made and the vote will be taken by the commission chair that evening or pro tem. Under appointments, we have the judicial commissioner, Lisa Scruggs, to be reappointed for a 4-year term. And under resolutions, the first one we will address will be the land purchase, the lot across the street from the jail. So that will open that up for discussion at this point. Everyone got information on it. I was contacted by Mr. Barnett probably a month ago, and he informed me that he was moving back to Guntersville, Alabama, and that he was interested in selling the property. And he asked me, would the county be interested at a price of $149,900, which is a little less than half of what it had been listed for a considerable amount of time. And whether or not we build the jail there, and there's a real possibility, it's too good of a situation to pass up at this time if we simply use for parking. Now the Mr. Langford from Spirit Architecture will be here next week. We've talked about looking at that piece of land and whether or not we could set a 2-story jail there or not. We may be looking at another option or two to expand that lot. I can't be real specific at this time, but there's a real possibility that the jail could be placed on that lot. That lot is certainly larger than the piece of land between the Criminal Justice Center and the current jail. So that's a real consideration, and it seems like the thing it would be to do in the best interest of the county. But I was real pleased with it. And he is wanting to move quickly on this, and the sheriff and I entered into an agreement with him on an option to purchase with a deadline of the end of September, because he was wanting to move on it quickly. And so it's incumbent that we pass this next Monday night so we can close on that property. Any questions, comments? So are we good to go there? And that'll be addressed on Monday evening. Let's see, under ordinances, I think that's the only resolution we'll have. Under ordinances, we will consider 310-2024-10, rezoning from A1 to R1. Ms. Rosalie, you want to talk about that tonight so we can have a clear picture of what we're doing?
Certainly. Over here on Crenshaw, the Adcocks have a large parcel of land, and they would like to separate off 1 acre so that their granddaughter would be able to build a home there. The rezoning would be to R1. The large parcel of land, of course, is an A1. There are other R1 pieces of property along that road there, the same situation where families have decided to cut off parcels of land for their family to build a home.
That's a granddaughter, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions on that? If not, we'll move on to item 2, which is ordinance 311-2024. 11, which would be personnel policy revisions. Anyone want to address that? It's fairly straightforward. That'll be considered. Item of sick leave and holiday pay. I think it was pretty thoroughly discussed in personnel, was it not? Okay. Any questions on that from anyone? If not, we'll move on to budget amendments. Mr. Gully, would you like to address that from budget?
Certainly. First one there that you see, 10101 F, which is a fund balance draws. What that F stands for is their sheriff salary positions. Budget and Finance chose to take no action on this one, awaiting a different information. All we have is what you see in below you there on the purpose, which is that the positions were hired at a higher rate than they were budgeted at in last year's budget. So they were hired at a higher rate. I don't know if that's one employee or 2 employees or 5 employees. I know there's 3 at least there because there's 3 different positions we're discussing at least. But we did not have that clarification at this time. So Budget and Finance made no movement. There was a motion made, but it was not seconded. Any questions there?
Questions? Yes, sir.
Well, one question and one statement. Go to the statement first. Reading the purpose here, hiring at a higher rate than budgeted. And I heard the sheriff's explanation, but that seems to me to be a bad precedent for any department head. And granted, I know the sheriff is elected, not technically a department head, but it seems like a bad precedent to be setting. And my question, the previous commission put in that longevity scale for the sheriff's department for pay increases. How, since we're bringing in people above whatever that, how are we integrating them into that longevity scale?
That might be a question more for the sheriff. I think the question references the longevity scale. I think you're discussing the Travis County pay scale, lack of a better term, our personnel policy for raises, which is that step plan, I think is what you're referencing. Am I correct?
To an extent, but the previous commission for the sheriff's, specifically for the sheriff's department, put in a longevity scale to for pay increases. I'm curious how.
I don't know. We hadn't gone by that longevity pay in the last 2 years. Since it was put in effect, it hadn't been implemented. And what I'm doing when I got people that come to me that certified police officers that's got 5, 10, 15 years experience, I've been starting them out $1 or $2 more an hour than a base pay. Reason for that, they already trained, they know the job, they've been through the academy, they had their training. I hire somebody just straight off the street. Most times they have to ride for 6 months. They're getting paid while they're riding. They can't do anything but ride with a supervisor. Then they have to go through 12 weeks of training. Then they have to ride again when they get out of the academy. So we got over a year tied up in the individual before I ever put them on the road. And I've been trying to hire people that's already certified, not only to help me, but help the citizens of this county to have people on the road. And to get those people, I've been trying to pay them $1 to hour more than what base scale is. We're behind right now. The surrounding counties around us. About 2 years ago, we all done the pay increase. We was up even with everybody. I talked to an individual last month I was trying to hire. He's working at Portland. And I told him what I would pay him. He said, I can't take that. I'm making $4 an hour more. And that's the problem I'm running into right now is trying to hire people, but everybody else around here is a higher scale.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Sheriff.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Next one would be I apologize there. I don't know if y'all can hear me. 10102 grant fundings. This was passed with a favorable recommendation. It's 3 different grants you're looking at here. Anytime, I think, in my opinion, it's always a good move to accept those grants. Always a good move. So that one was accepted. That is no cost to the county. 11101 FG. So it's a fund balance draw and a grant. If that makes sense to everybody, that's why that's FG. The grant is the $2 million portion of that. The fund balance draw is a $317,000 to cover. I believe that was a little over 20%, if I remember that correct, of that grant. A little under 20%, 15, 16 something percent. My math. I can get there pretty quick if you need me to, but that's pretty close. At this point, that is the Ward School piece that the commission voted on to move forward on a couple of months ago, I'm gonna say in July. And this did pass with a favorable recommendation. It did have a nay, but it was a favorable recommendation 4-1.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Gully. Questions or comments at this point? On that? The next item would be whatever notaries come up, and any other business to be discussed tonight's work session. Anyone? Any issues to be discussed? Anyone from the, we take public comments on work session. Anyone from the public wish to make a comment tonight? I don't see anyone. If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, second. This motion is not debatable. All in favor say aye. Thank you for your participation.